welcome back. So today I am doing my top 5 RCs for 2022, and I think my review on my top 5 is really going to shock some people. I base my reviews for 2022 on durability, innovation, and the cost of the RC, and what the manufacturers are doing to try to improve the RCs. So let's get down right to it. And it's funny because the fire team is sitting on the bench right now, and this came in for me at number 5. And the only reason it squeaked in at number 5 was because, believe it or not, for 2022 I didn't see a lot of like innovation stuff out of manufacturers. For me, for 2022, fire team squeaks in at number 5 mainly because the price dropped. I always thought it was a pretty unique body and tire combination, even though, like I said on previous videos, the electronics in it, same old. You know, it's kind of like what TRAXXAS does. ARRMA did the same thing, Horizon. They're using the standard Spectrum system, and it works okay. You know, motors run hot, and ESCs, they do fail. But steering servos, not all that great, but that's what you get in a ready to run. As far as the arms, the links, the chassis support, you know, the body bracing on this has got to be one of the best body bracing RCs that I've seen. The cage integrates into the front, integrates into the rear, supported into the center, and supported onto the sides. And then the whole body is a roll cage, and it's literally just beefed up everywhere. Yes, it's plastic, and that's what makes it durable. I think the overall layout of the ARRMA platform on this 6S line is good. Velcro straps work okay. I'm not a big fan of the handbrake, but you know, it is fun to play around with, so I leave it in here. I leave this RC exactly the way ARRMA intended, with the factory tires. So for a basher, it's not a really good jumper in stock form, but it definitely is fun to blast around on grass, flat dirt, you know, rocky terrain. It seems to just handle everything, and it's got decent speed. So for me, this came in at number 5. Now the price point on it, some places are still selling it for $3.99 up until Christmas. RC Guy Garage sold one of them. So if you want to see where you can get this, I think they had 14 available the last time he did a video on it at his local hobby shop, and I'm not sure if you can call up and order it and have it shipped, but I did look it up. Adeline's RC has it for $469 listed right now, and then everybody else seems to have it back up at $669.99. I think A-Main $669, so $670 for a 6S line. Still kind of expensive, but it seems to follow for the 6S line. That seems to be about where the price is, and this is before tax. If you add tax to it, you know, California is a 10% tax, so you're talking $70 in tax for California. Other cities are different, so don't know your tax rate, but for me, this was number 5. So let's go ahead and move on to number 4. Number 4 for me for 2022 is TRAXXAS MAXX version 2. Version 1 was kind of fun, a little skinnier, a little shorter. This a little longer, a little wider. And definitely this is where I think they started with, you know, easy, quick little body on it. Front is kind of tight. Love how it comes with the roof skid guard. This RC seems to be where TRAXXAS got their plastic right on their control arms. Right out of the box, I haven't been breaking control arms on this RC. It does come with lights. Well, I added a light kit, I believe, to this. I bought the demo model, so it came with lights. But I think the lights were an option on this. Of course, I don't like the TRAXXAS plug. As you see, I'm still running the TRAXXAS fans and TRAXXAS heatsink and stock motor, the whole Valineum system. So this RC, usually when you see I leave it bone stock, still running the stock tires on it, it's the way I like to run the RC. I think first time they did the battery tray going in on this, and it seemed to be pretty good. I definitely like, you know, the MAXX style chassis on this. The arms, I beat it up. I really put this thing through the test, and I didn't break anything on it, you know. I know some people have, but me personally, I took it to the skate park, and you know, I had a blast with this thing. I think it's a good RC for what it is, and this is for me coming in at, you know, number 4 for 2022. Little on the pricey side for me, for, you know, a 4S line RC. For me, it was just a little on the pricey side. They did consider it, you know, a 1/10 scale, but $569.95 seems to be about the average price for it. So it's a 4S line that TRAXXAS came out with, and it's really durable. And you know, $570. Now remember, 10% tax on top of that. And then I think you have to purchase the light kit separately, which is, I think, about $100. Don't quote me on it, but I believe it's somewhere around $100 for the light kit. And I haven't had to change the axles on it. Still running the plastic axles. I do like the bigger shocks on it. I do like how the shocks are adjustable. You're not putting shim clips in it to shim it up. It seems to be holding shock pressure just like the MAXX did. Shocks aren't leaking down. Everything overall with this RC seems to be pretty good, but it comes with a price, you know, and the price is $569. So it is up there. This body with this design, even on the MAXX, would they made it tighter in the front, but on hard crashes the body still can pop off. And I think that's one thing I wish TRAXXAS would have worked on with this thing. But overall, compared to the version 1, I think the longer chassis and the way they set it up, the stability of it, and the air control you have with this, for me, comes in at number 4. Still a reasonable deal, and TRAXXAS parts are available everywhere. TRAXXAS support, you know, bar none, is some of the best out there. And, you know, easy to get fixed when you break it, and they do have upgraded parts for it. So there's part support out there. The color combinations they have, I'm hoping they'll change soon. But for me, with the wheelie bar and it's like a mini MAXX to me. And I love the MAXX. This comes in at number 4 for me. Let's see what number 3 is. Here we go, an on-road car. Like I said, innovative, and I think ARRMA knocked it out of the park with the VENDETTA. You know, I do know that they made the version 2 limitless, and believe it or not, that did make my list. There wasn't enough changes. The smaller batteries for me, the version 1 was just fine. So it didn't make my list. But the Vendetta, totally innovative. And at the price point, 329 bucks, you can't go wrong with this RC. An ESC change and the thing runs, 114 miles an hour. So for me, I think it's one of the best RCs ARRMA did for 2022. I honestly do. It is an on-road car, so it limits the places you can run it. If you're not into speed, this is not the RC for you. It is fun to, put in front of the house with stock gearing and stock form, with the stock ESC, running around on 3S, racing with your buddies in the street in front of your house. So if you live in a big city and you don't have a lot of dirt areas to run, this is definitely an RC for you. It handles well. It's very fun. I like the design. I did have to put a screw in the center here because at higher speeds, it tends to flop and it will actually rip off. It comes with speed gearing. I have the optional hoons on it, which they offer for it. And like I said, I just took out the stock ESC out of ARRMA 6S line and bolted it in here, left the stock motor, put the speed gearing in it, and we're up to 114 miles an hour. And for $329, you can run 100 miles an hour with this RC in almost stock form, just an ESC change, which cost me nothing because I upgrade all my felonies, most of my 6S lines through ARRMA. I upgraded. It does have a lot of plastic on it, but plastic made it light. The plastic chassis, it's a proven chassis. ARRMA Big Rock showed how durable the thing was. And, comes in a couple choices of colors. I like the yellow because I could see it sitting. I like the dark blue. I own them both. Whenever I buy two RCs, it's a good RC. It's a simple modification I did on this thing, just changing out the ESC. But overall, I think it's a really good RC, and for me, comes in at number 3 on my list. 329 bucks. You can't beat it. I think ARRMA knocked it out of the park with this. We had our doubts with the holes cut into the body right here. A lot of the speedrun guys were saying that won't work. This body's going to be junk. It's, but like I've shown, these cutouts really help keep this body, keeps this RC sucked to the ground. And I think ARRMA knocked it out of the park. And I think the price point is fair. 329 bucks for this RC. And you don't have to do much to hit those triple digits. Comes in at number 3 for me. Here we go, TRAXXAS Sledge. Now this came in at number 2 for me. And like I said, this is just for RCs that were released in 2022. And trust me, I went over everything I purchased and what I liked. For me, the Sledge, I think it was this new body locking system where they started it in the back, easy to take the body off, very innovative. I do like the upper chassis support. ARRMA's been doing it a long time, and 6S steering servo wasn't too good in this thing, really slow. Upgraded servo is something you have to do. I did upgrade the fan for the motor, and I put a steering servo in it. Other than that, I left everything else stock. I do like how they put the clips to hold in the battery, your 6S battery. I also like how they put the arm protector rock guards in the back of this. Wing's very flexible, and I haven't broken the wing on this, which is surprising. I have crushed it, I have twisted it, but I haven't broke it. Adjustable shocks. Tires do well for me. I tend to run the stock tires. I try to leave them in stock form. I know some people had problems with the motor mount. I haven't. When when I first got the RC, the mesh was way off when I ran this thing. And it's kind of like a pin system. So I literally put a screwdriver in here, loosened the screws, got my mesh right, tightened the screws down, and that's the way this RC's been. And of course, change out TRAXXAS connector. I do not like TRAXXAS connectors. I did paint up a custom body. I wish they would have offered this with a clear body, but it is what it is. And this body with this innovative locking system, I think was very innovative. Now, price point on this thing is not very good. I want to say it's $6.99. I'm going to look it up because people are holding me to the prices I'm saying. I'm usually around about, I know the FIRETEAM is $6.69 and I think this is $6.99 now. I think ARRMA did that on purpose, is to price it just below what TRAXXAS is doing with the SLEDGE, because that's the closest competitor to it. But like I said before, I haven't broke anything on this thing. I did have the rear axle shafts pop out. I stuck fuel tubing in there, but I heard TRAXXAS is throwing O-rings in there now, and that's a problem that's already been solved. Yeah, $699.95, so it's a $700 RC, and the FIRETEAM is $670. So they're not too far off, but with the body locking system, the skid guards on top, the center support brace, this is a metal chassis car. Some people were bending the chassis, but like ARRMA 6S line, if you send it hard enough and you land on rocks, you are gonna bend metal chassis. It's just the way it is. But this hit my, number 2 spot because I like the ease of the body locking system on this. I'm not fumbling with body clips. I think TRAXXAS is trying really hard to make it really easy to get in there, check temps, look at what's going on. And I believe, if you crash hard enough with this body will pop off too. But it has to be a pretty hard crash to get this body to pop off. I do like, you can one hand take off the body. It's just something, I think, the guards around the gearing, this guard really helps. Rocks can still get jammed in there with the gears, but this guard really does help. I wish it had a bigger front bumper, because the body takes the abuse. But overall, for 2022, this is my number 2 pick. Really think you guys are going to be shocked for my number 1 pick. We'll be right back. So my number 1 pick is ARRMA's 4S line. I chose the OUTCAST. I do have the OUTCAST and the KRATON 4S. This is the version 2, and I beat the heck out of this thing. I had so much fun with this 4S OUTCAST. I like a trick truck when it comes to bashing. The backflip tires on this thing, the 4S backflips, one of the best ready-to-run tires on the market. I think ARRMA did a great job with the 4S line this time. I do have the original 4S line and, diff problems and braking axle problems, and they really solved it on this RC. I think they listened to the customer on this. They gave us fans. I think the ESC is a little small, but for me, it was plenty of power. I didn't have to change it out. I left the stock steering, even though it's a little sluggish. I like the wheelie bar, the wing. I haven't broke anything on this RC. What I didn't like was I had to add the spacers to the shocks. But once I did that, I don't really have to adjust it anymore. And with, I like, self-adjusting nuts on the shocks. I think they cheaped out a little bit on that, but for a basher, does it really matter? Turnbuckles on this, if you want to set your alignment. My bashers, I never set alignments. The bearings have been doing great on this. The axles have been doing great. I know the early release ones had an axle problem. They fixed it before, it got to the consumer. And if you happen to get one that didn't have the fix in it, then they sent the fix out to you. I think the body is great. I love the bumper. I love the wing. For me, this was a home run for ARRMA, really. And if you don't like the OUTCAST and you're a KRATON fan, the 4S KRATON, man, it's a good RC as well. For me, I'm more of a trick truck guy. You can grab this thing, throw it in your car, lunchtime, one 4S pack, throw it in there, and you can go rip it at lunchtime. It's the perfect size RC in my opinion. So this comes in a little pricey, $469, but 4S line. You know, when you're talking compared to the MAXX, you know, the MAXX was, you know, over $500, I believe, and the V2 MAXX. So 4S line to 4S line, pricing put this thing #1 for me. Even though I fumble with body clips, they give you the tether. And honestly, you know, if adding roof sliders to this would have put it even higher up, in my opinion, and some sort of center support for the body. But overall, you know, this thing's been doing great for me. I love it. I think they did most of the changes from the version 1 OUTCAST 4S line that they discontinued. I think when they came out with this, they came out with it right. The axles are holding up. They're not snapping anymore. Overall, I think with the wider stance on this and the longer chassis on the KRATON, I think overall for a 4S line, this is my #1 pick for 2022. You guys might be asking yourself, Earl, what about the new XRT? You've been doing a lot of videos on the XRT, and here's my thing with the XRT. I don't think it's innovative enough. It's too close for me to an X-Maxx, so it doesn't really make it innovative. 70% of the parts are an X-Maxx, and if you have an X-Maxx or two, you know, RC Guy Garage with his Mongol showed you can just convert it over for a few $100s and turn your old X-Maxx into an XRT or an XRT hybrid. It's going to give you the same driving experience just without the body, with the X-Maxx body. And for me, that's just not innovative enough. TRAXXAS didn't put enough thought into that, I want to say. I love the RC. I wouldn't go without it. But it's $1,000 RC. And for $1,000, you know, for me to make it on the top 5 list, you know, it would have had to have been spectacular. I haven't done my review on that thing. I'm still running it. The upper bulkheads, you know, I broke them, and yes, I was hard on them, and I broke them. They're only $5 to fix. X-Maxx used to break them, but in talking to tech support with TRAXXAS, when I found the part number was wrong to the front upper bulkhead, that they didn't revise it, and we got all that solved. And they got me the part right away, and customer support was really good. But for me, it just wasn't innovative enough. And at $1,000 price point, you know, you really got to be a RC enthusiast to buy one, a $1,000 RC in today's market. It's kind of like the DBXL, the 32cc, you know, gas Losi that's out there. I think, you know, that was a pretty cool RC, but that's a $1,400 RC, $1,400 RC, and in today's market, just didn't make the list either. And I love my gas stuff, but this little 4S thing for the price point and how hard I can beat on it, how much enjoyment I get out of this, and I don't have to fix it. For me, that's the biggest thing. I don't have to wrench on it. I could throw batteries in it, take it out, beat up on it, and if I do happen to break something, most of the local hobby shops will have parts to fix this. So same thing with TRAXXAS, with the SLEDGE. Most hobby shops will have the part in stock, pretty cheap price. Parts for this, they're a little bit more expensive, but still affordable for an affordable RC, that you can get just as much fun on this 4S line as you can with ARRMA 6S line. I'm telling you guys right now. I compared this pretty close to the SLEDGE, and that's why SLEDGE came in #2 and this came in #1. I think ARRMA listened to what we were doing. I love the 4S line version 1. I just had to add power to it. Now I got the power, you know, I got the stability, got the backflips, and I got axles not breaking. Overall, it's pretty good. Center drive shaft gets rocks in it. It starts eating up these center drive shafts. I really wish that was metal, but they did change the center support bearing on this to where the support is built into the chassis now, so we're not breaking those little tabs off all the time on like ARRMA's 3S line and the old 4S line when we would add this center bearing. So for me, whether it's the KRATON 4S or the OUTCAST 4S, for me, that was innovative enough for 2022. That's my #1 pick. Hope you guys enjoyed. Remember, these reviews are, you know, to the person doing the review, and for me, for the type of person I am, an on-road speed guy, love speed, love overbuilding stuff, and I love bashing, and I'm not very good at driving. I need me a strong RC to go out there and not break stuff. Everything I chose today, mainly in stock form. I didn't have to make modifications to them. My XRT, doing a bunch of modifications to it. Did I have to? I don't think I needed the big motor in that thing. But, you know, it is what it is. I'll do the review on the XRT. It just didn't make the list too late this year and too much money this year for me, and not enough changes on the XRT. But there we go. Like, comment, subscribe. We'll catch you guys on my next video. Thanks for watching.